Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and this is Lindy Stitches, where I talk about cross stitch. It's the end of August. We are 2.5 weeks into our school year. We are a homeschooling family and Mama's had a hard adjustment, but I think that we are sort of into the routine of things. This year I have a freshman, a 7th grader, and a 2nd grader. So it feels like the total span. I am literally doing high school, middle school, and elementary school. The 2nd grader has some learning difficulties and we are still trying to figure everything out. And it's just been kind of a roller coaster, but it's good. Everything is fine. I'm fine. In addition to trying to adjust to school and get everybody situated and educated, I lost a friend this week. She passed away and I'm still trying to process that. And I really don't want to film myself being emotional, so we're not going to go into it, but that is heavy on my heart. I have a lot to share with you today, and I am happy to do so. I'm excited to do so, so let's get into it. The first thing I want to show you is a new release, and it is a pair of turkeys. I love turkeys. I'm a bird enthusiast, and I just realized, I was thinking about the patterns that I've already released and then also the patterns I'm working on. Here's my little flow chart. You probably can't tell, but there's one of the patterns I'm working on. It has a bird on it. I do a lot of birds, and I wasn't even, like, I like birds. I like birds, but at the same time, I'm an ignorant bird enthusiast, and by that I mean I get excited about them, I like watching them, I like learning about them, but I really don't have anything up here in the knowledge bank. Like, I really don't know anything. So lately I've been really enjoying getting on my bike and going on a morning bike ride. I live right on the edge of town. I can see from my window right where the country starts, and so I just take my bike down there and there's a 4-mile loop where I get to go past a huge prairie where the sun's rising, and then I turn the corner and I go through the woods where there's like a little swampy area, and so I get to see these little mini ecosystems, and in the quiet of the morning, seeing the animals and the birds is just really soothing and lovely. And almost every morning I encounter the turkeys. Indiana has, at least northern Indiana, has a ton of wild turkeys. You could probably find one every day if you tried. They're quirky and wonderful. A lot of times they have babies with them or teenagers, and honestly, stopping my bike, and I can get pretty close to them, stopping my bike and just being able to observe the turkeys feels like such a special moment. Anyway, I've always wanted to have like a turkey collection. Turkeys translate well to cross stitch, don't they? I mean, they're quirky birds. Cross stitch can look pretty quirky, and yeah, so I've always thought I should do like a turkey collection. Anyway, why not chart some of my own? So that's what I did. I'm gonna spare you the angst of the camera focusing. You can thank me in the comments. Here are Mr. and Mrs. Delicious. The kind of turkeys that I see every day, apparently there's 4 different types of wild turkeys. Ours are pretty colorless unless the males are displaying their feathers, which can be impressive. They don't have a ton of color on them. They're kind of drab looking, actually. So I didn't put a ton of color on these turkeys, but I think they look pretty darn cute. They have their pilgrim hats. Both of them have a little lacy pattern on the top and the bottom. Mr. Delicious has cattails. I don't know how many of you are familiar with cattails. I don't know how regional those are, but cattails are like a swampy area weed. I don't know, are they a weed? They grow a lot down here, like in the swamps and the ditches. And in the fall, they are really kind of pretty. They kind of explode and they're white. And so these are like in the process of exploding. And that's what those are. I wasn't sure if everyone would realize what I was doing there. But anyway, spiders, pumpkins, and a crow is what Mr. Delicious has. And then Mrs. Delicious has her pilgrim hat on, Indian corn, some gourds, a cat, and another spider. These are stitched on 32 count feldspar by Picture This Plus. And a lot of overdyes, but I did do a DMC conversion, and honestly these would look completely fine in DMC. This is chenille trim by Lady Creates. The color is called Ogden Grass. And then to finish mine, I just did some fabric. I did the cut and patch method on the back, which I think worked out well. I do also have the problem with a slight puckering when I turn it in the seam. So I think they're cute. What do you think? They're a nice little pair. I believe Michelle Bendy Stitchy is going to be doing a turkey sale, so if you have a pattern with some turkeys that you're interested in stitching, I'm sure that you could go to her channel and get the details on that. Mr. and Mrs. Delicious. And if you're a vegan, you can name them something else, or not name them at all. So those are my my newest pattern. You can check those out in my shop. I had a couple other finishes since my last video. This is Blackbird Designs Book of Spells. I won the pattern and this already finished box by Farm Girl Michelle, and finally was able to assemble my finished pieces. This was a fun project. I liked stitching all of these smalls, which was a little bit surprising to me. I kind of thought, like, I wanted the finished box, but I kind of thought it would be boring to stitch all of these, and it wasn't. It was relaxing and fun. And finishing the box, my problem with finishing is that I get really impatient. I am glad to spend hours stitching these in relaxation, but the finishing process never feels relaxing to me, and I would really like it to last like 15 minutes. Like, I want this done in 15 minutes, so I get impatient. And yeah, this took time, and honestly, it is, a lot of them are not straight. Yeah. Cutting all of these little squares of foam core. Really, I think mat board might have been easier, but I didn't have any mat board. So I used foam core, and I ended up gluing, wrapping them and gluing them on the back. The instructions said to lace them, and no. The impatience. I could not lace these, just no. So I glued them. They look fine. This is going to be a gift, and it's good. It's fine. It's pretty. I like it. It's going to be a great gift So thank you so much, Michelle. This was a really fun project, and I know the person I'm gifting it to is really gonna like it. Oh, the original pattern did say Halloween down here, but I changed it to Give Thanks because we're just not a huge... The person I'm giving it to is not a huge Halloween fan. So... The other finish I had was Coffin Buzz by Plum Street Samplers. I ran out of floss, but Ginger Gerald came to my rescue and sent me the color I needed. So thank you, Gerald, for your kindness to me. Yes, this is the front. This is a freebie from Paulette Stewart on her blog. I'm sure you've seen it all over the place. Tracy P was doing a birthday sell with this, and there are like Quaker stars and some doodads around. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to call this a finish, and it will be turned into a Christmas gift at some point. So I think it looks great. This is Dark Cobblestone Lugana, and I am totally digging this color. So that one's done. Alright. Should we do whips next? Let's just do haul next because I only have one thing. So, I randomly logged into my eBay account and I had a $15 coupon code for like no reason whatsoever. I don't know why. I don't know why it was there. Sorry about that, my battery died. Anyway, eBay wanted me to spend some money. Happy to do so. There's an artist who is Russian. Her name in English is Maria Pavlova, and she paints in watercolors and oil paints, and a lot of her artwork features cats. And I fell in love with her work via Instagram. It's just like she captures... Her paintings are just charming and lovely, and I would have gladly bought a print or something to hang on my wall if I could have found some means of doing so. The only means that I have found of attaining her art is to buy an RTO cross-stitch kit. RTO is a Russian company, and they have converted, I don't know, 6 or 7 of her cat paintings into cross stitch, and if you're a cat lover, you have to go check these out. They're so charming. The reason I hesitated for a few years is they're full coverage, and I just don't have a lot of faith in Steph's full coverage endurance abilities. But anyway, I got this. And it's called Red Troublemakers. Look at this. Do you see what I mean about capturing the essence of a cat? Being a total goofball, being totally ticked off and put out. This is just cats in a nutshell. I'm thinking this picture is a little desaturated because look at these colors. Really pretty. I actually found some Russian Flosstubers who have done a bunch of different Maria Pavlova RTO kits and made videos about them, and they are all stunning and gorgeous. I found someone who had finished this kit, and because I can't understand the titles and I can't understand what they're saying, she was focusing on this on the wall, and I thought to myself, I thought it was a painting. I didn't realize that it was cross-stitch until I continued to watch the video, and she did a close-up, and I was like, oh, that's the project! I can't even believe it. Looks really, really good finished, and I'm hoping that will motivate me to maybe do this someday. We shall see. Yeah. I'm going to link that video down below because you have to see it. Alright, so moving on to whips. Let us move on. The first project I'm going to show you is Bag Ladies. This is an old Sunset kit. Last time I showed it to you, I just had this central bag done. I picked out my own fabric for this piece that is a slightly lower count. Just to get better coverage. Here's what I have. I have a partially completed cat who looks pretty creepy. But that's how far I am. I really wanted to finish him, but I had a stitch along planned with Miss Ingeborg over at A Stitch Too Far. It was my birthday, and I wanted to start a Long Dog Samplers piece. I didn't tell her it was my birthday because I feel weird calling attention to my own birthday. But Ingeborg, thank you for the fun activity on my birthday. Because it was fun. This is, I don't know, Ingeborg says it so much better than me. I don't know. I don't know. Dino. This is from the out of print Long Dog Samplers book. This is what the cover looks like. I have this chart and this chart only. A very kind gentleman knew that I wanted, I posted on Facebook asking about this book and specifically this chart, and he said, well, I have the book. I don't want to send you the whole book, but can I just send you this chart? And I said, yes, you can. And it's not copyright infringement because if you've never seen the book before, it actually has pockets and like the chart. Like, you can just take out the charts. So that's what he did. There's no way he copied this. Anyway, he sent me the chart. And very thankful because I love this piece. Here's where I am. I love this color combination. This is Abyss by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Steph. I looked for this blue for a long time because I didn't want, there's a lot of different blues in the world. I didn't want denim blue. This is almost a denim, but not quite. It has some green in it. I didn't want denim. I didn't want super dark midnight blue. This is exactly the color I wanted. So Abyss 32 count, and I am using ecru. I'm using ecru. I didn't want a stark white. I wanted just kind of an ivory color. And I did the needle, size up your needle trick, which is another thing I stole off Ingeborg, who stole it off someone else. To use a needle that is 1 or maybe even 2 sizes bigger than you would normally use to help your white stitches lay nicely. I'm doing that. These are still looking kind of sloppy to me. You probably can't tell, but I'm trying not to get too finicky about it, or I'm not going to work on this because I don't like my stitching to feel finicky. I have enough finicky things in my life without, you know, obsessing over how each stitch lays. That just seems overkill to me. So I'm trying to just chill out and stitch it because in the end no one really cares. Fun! Yeah. as my birthday, I started a Long Dog Samplers piece. Earlier in that day, I went with a group of my friends to the house of my other friend who was passing away, and we gathered in her living room and sang songs where she could hear us, and it was just kind of a really emotional gesture of love to her. And so it was it was a kind of a roller coaster day for me. That was really, you know, just like, it's really wonderful and sweet, and I will never forget that day. But very emotional, and then it was just really comforting to come home and kind of just be able to go into stitch mode and start something fun and new and easy, and, you know, do some processing mentally. I think that's why cross stitch can be so addictive, is it's just so meditative and it's soothing. So yes, you have to go check out Ingeborg's piece. She is doing Rain Dance, and she's doing a 1/1, and it's adorable. It's really cute. Okay, so that's hashtag LongDogAlong on Instagram. And if you'd like to hashtag your Instagram posts with that sort of ridiculousness, feel free. Also, we highly encourage low quality animal footage. And I think that's really funny. I like putting it out there, like, if you could include some low quality animal footage, that's awesome, because it kind of just takes the pressure off. Like, how many videos on your phone are actually share worthy? Very few, especially when you're out and about and you're like, a bird! Like, those are not the videos that you share, but why not? Why not? Low quality animal videos. Do it. My next whip is Autumn Cat Sampler. This is by the Kooler Design Studio. It's going to look like this. I started this last year on my birthday, and I'm so surprised that I am not farther on this than I am, but it is very finicky to work on. Here's where I am. I made it up this long column, and all of that back stitching is done. I'm just going to show you a little snippet of the chart, because that is not illegal. For this section, the chart, I'm just going to show you a little section of the chart that I was working on. See all that red? That is back stitching. See all that confetti? That is crazy. That's why it took me like 2 months to get through this section. Okay, here's what it looks like. Part of the issue for me with this chart is the camera hee-hawing. Okay. I like distinct back stitching. Have you ever worked on a piece like this where the back stitching is not black? It's not even dark brown. This is a lot of like green, purple. So the back stitch lines are not harsh. They're very soft. So you're doing the back stitch and it kind of feels pointless. I mean, it definitely enhances the stitching, but when you're used to like back stitching it and pow, wow, it looks amazing. That's not really what happens. I don't know if that's like to make it look more like drawn, like hand drawn or something. I really don't know what. I don't know how well this is focusing either. Please forgive me. Yeah, I don't know. Soft back stitching. I always question it, like, come on, shouldn't that be black? It looks so much better if it was black, but it's not black, and so there it is. The next project I have to show you is Fancy Blacket Shoo. I'm gonna DQ snap it while I talk to you. I had this idea the other day for a project. I'm just gonna share it with you. It probably won't happen, but I thought, how fun would it be to stitch one Fancy Blacket piece every year or every so often. Michelle at CozyEgg, I feel like for some reason this idea reminds me of you. I don't know why. I know you like Fancy Blacket, and maybe with your Halloween piece, I don't know. Anyway, I thought, how fun would it be to stitch 6, I don't even know how many there are, but 6 to 8 Fancy Blacket pieces on different counts of, maybe not different counts, but different shades of fabric, and then have this collection, and then like do the whole hodgepodge together, like of, you know, where you just sew them together so it looks like one piece, but you can tell it's not all one piece because there's different shades of fabric. Come on. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, so this is what Shoo looks like. Really sweet. I am almost done with it. This is a hanging thread. I just have to finish this tree with all the birds in it. This is so cute. I kind of want to make it into a pillow, but I kind of really like that idea of doing a big Fancy Blacket hodgepodge. So, we'll see. Really cute. This is working up really quickly. This month I also had the privilege of having my very first trunk show hosted by the House of Stitches. It's still there as far as I know, unless it secretly got packed away and shoved in a corner, which I don't think it did. Yeah, I can't tell you how gratifying. I'm going to insert a picture here of what it looks like. I can't tell you how gratifying it is to see that picture. I just dropped off my stuff. We didn't like set it up together or anything. The shop owner, Linda, did that for me. I can't tell you how gratifying it is to see like my collection, my offerings to the world all set up and beautiful. Obviously when they're here in my home usually, but they're scattered all abroad the house, and sometimes put away because there's no suitable spot to put them. It's so wonderful to see them all together, and that is Lindy Stitches. That is my work, and yeah, I was just happy to see that. And of course I'm preparing for National Needlework Market in March, which I am equally excited and a little bit nerve-wracked about. I was emailing a friend this week and I told her, well, I try not to think about it late at night because, yeah, it's a lot. I'm gonna be ready, I'm organized, I'm prepared, but I guess it just feels like a new level of vulnerability and like putting myself out there. It's one thing for me to be sitting here with my camera in my bedroom, blabbing. It's another thing to be like marketing myself to shop owners, and I'm trying to get into that, I don't want to say persona, but in a way it is a persona, because Steph naturally wants to be in her house with her cat. But there is another side of me that's like, let's hustle this, let's do it. Let's do it. So, I'm trying to grow that side, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Very ineptly. Alright, let's talk about what I'm all into. I am all into crocheted doilies, buying them. Now, this feels partly old lady-ish to me, but I think it's more vintage. I'm going with more vintage. I am super into this. I've been kind of collecting them. I can buy these for around $2.50 to $3 at the local little antique mall. And I've been kind of tempted to pick up my crochet needle and try this. I have not done fine crochet work like this with the crochet thread. It looks very intimidating to me, but it's gorgeous. And so I thought, you know, instead of me trying to get into another craft right now, how about I just buy crochet doilies? So, yeah. My friend Nicole gave me this idea. She found this pin on Pinterest, and I'm just going to insert the picture here. Isn't that fun? So I think I'm kind of gonna build a collection, and even if you find white ones, you could dye them, and yeah, I think that's really pretty and fun. This one is my favorite. It's bigger, and you couldn't use it for that doily tablecloth project, but it's gray and white, and like, I paid $7 for this. And some woman spent how many hours making this? I just think it's really pretty. So yeah, I'm into crochet doilies. The other thing I'm all into is hearing the crickets at night, which I haven't noticed this summer until the last few weeks. Maybe because it's been getting darker earlier, they start up where I'm paying attention, but they've been really loud, and I don't know, it's a very soothing sound. I like it. Third thing I'm all into is War and Peace. And I don't know if you remember, but you all like talking about books. I definitely noticed that from my last video. I brought up the Great American Reads book. So we're all 50 Shades of Grey haters together, and you like talking about books. Thank you for all your comments and recommendations. A few of you chastised me for writing off War and Peace. I, if you remember, had a little bit of an attitude like, oh, I don't have time for that. There is something nice about reading a really, really big book, because I kind of don't like the pressure of choosing my next read. I won't have to choose my next read for the next 6 months. Hopefully not that long. Alright. The last thing I'm all into is poetry. I don't know why, but fall for me is very nostalgic. I'm kind of a sucker for nostalgia, which, I don't know. Nostalgia's weird. It can be bad, and it can be good. And hopefully I just stick with the good kind. I read through this book of poems almost every fall, because poetry a lot of times is nostalgic, and it just feels right. I really like this collection of poems. Regardless of your personal feelings toward Garrison Keillor, I really appreciated Garrison Keillor's work. Anybody else listen to the Writer's Almanac? I really miss the Writer's Almanac. I used to listen to it. It was such a great ritual. He just did a daily podcast where he talked about what was happening that day in history, whether it would be birthdays or historical events. It was usually only 10 minutes long, so he would just give you little snippets about literature and the date in history, and then he would read a poem. And I can't tell you how many times he read the poem and I'm like, I gotta go bookmark that. That was amazing. So anyway, I missed that podcast. I love this book. I'm gonna read you a poem. And I feel a little bit weird doing this, but I kind of think that you're gonna appreciate it. But anyway, I'm gonna read you this poem. It is called The Life of a Day by Tom Hennon. And there's quite a few poets in this book that write in this style. It looks like just a big long paragraph. And I know that's just a style that some poets prefer to write in. And I like this one. So I am going to read it to you. Alright, so I'm on like take 8 with the poem. I want to read it right, and I want to read it well and do it justice. Also, I forgot to show you the coffee cup that Ingeborg sent me. It's a joke. She gets me. Okay. The Life of a Day by Tom Hennon. Like people or dogs, each day is unique and has its own personality quirks, which can easily be seen if you look closely. But there are so few days as compared to people, not to mention dogs, that it would be surprising if a day were not 100 times more interesting than most people. But usually they just pass, mostly unnoticed. Unless they're wildly nice, like autumn ones full of red maple trees and hazy sunlight. Or if they're grimly awful ones in a winter blizzard that kills the lost traveler and bunches of cattle. For some reason, we like to see days pass, even though most of us claim we don't want to reach our last one for a long time. We examine each day before us with barely a glance and say, no, this isn't the one I've been looking for, and wait in a bored sort of way for the next, when we are convinced our lives will start for real. Meanwhile, this day is going by perfectly well adjusted, as some days are, with the right amount of sunlight and shade, and a light breeze scented with a perfume made from the mixture of fallen apples, corn stubble, dry oak leaves, and the faint odor of last night's meandering skunk. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch. Thanks for hanging out with me, friends. Talk to you later.